All right, welcome back. So tonight, obviously, an interesting challenge. Uh, Most of this board was written up during the power outage, so not my best handwriting, and I thought it was kind of slanting at one point too. But because I was doing this by flashlight and lantern, a little more difficult to see. And then with about 5 minutes left in the game, the power comes back on. So because I was already thinking like, okay, so I don't know how I'm going to post these because I don't have enough lighting to do the reviews on my phone. Well, the power came back on. We're getting some heat in the house. My other concern was that it's like -3 out right now, so it gets cold in the house fast when the furnace won't come on because power. So this was the final game of the night. It was a challenge to watch, but I got it done. Seattle in against the Vancouver Canucks. This, of course, is Pickle. He is the father of the other bunnies, most of the other bunnies you've seen. So he's a troublemaker as well, but good bunny. So it's Drieger versus Demko in this one. And right at the start, John Garrett mentioned that Drieger gives up a lot of rebounds. And he does. He does give up a lot of rebounds. So it's game 400 for McCann. McCann, of course, former Canuck. And so that's always a storyline when Seattle plays Vancouver. It will be with McCann. So Mott scores early. And by early, I mean 11 seconds in from Lamico and Highmore. And it was a good forecheck that led to the goal. The Canucks win the faceoff. They go behind the Seattle net. They get it, and there you go. Canucks then look for another. Blackwell takes a couple of hits. Kind of looked shaky after the first one, but he stayed up, and he stayed in the game. And then McCann. McCann answers from Johansson and Eberle at 3:12. So that is his 21st goal of the season. It was a 2-on-1 that led to the goal. And the momentum kind of shifts there. So Appleton has a close call right after. Alexiak blasts one high. Canucks go the other way. Garland with a net feed to Miller. That wouldn't go. Garland with a rush chance is fired wide. Pretty short Canucks press before Seattle gets it out. Gord has a chance that's saved and held. Appleton's chance is saved. And the momentum is right now with Seattle. And it did kind of go back and forth during this period. Canucks press at 8 minutes. Pearson has a chance that's stopped. The shots are 5-4 for Seattle, 9 minutes in. Pettersson nearly stuffs one in, gets really close. Pettersson's been playing very well for the last few weeks here. Drieger covers that one. 5 shots in a row for the Canucks, so they definitely had some momentum at that point. Demko then saves a McCann shot. The Canucks rush after that. Seattle gets a power play. They were 2 for 19 over their last 7 games. And then we get 6 seconds of 4-on-4 before the Canucks are going to get a power play. What are you upset about? Are you upset about... Did you see the score? Maybe he's a Seattle fan. Don't look at the score, sweetie. So it's a shorthanded goal by Giordano. At the time that he leaves the zone, it's still 4-on-4. But by the time he gets to the other end and puts it in the net, it's a shorthanded goal from Donskoy and Sheahan at 14:26. And so that's not a great way for your power play to start, is with allowing a shorthanded goal. Yeah, the power play was 2 for the last 16 for Vancouver. So power plays tonight, and Vancouver kind of gets it going. But then there's a shorthanded chance for Gord that's fired wide. Of course, Seattle kills that one off. Johansson has a rush chance that's saved and held. OEL has a turnover then that gives Seattle a chance. And in the last minute, Horvat has a chance that's held on to with no rebound. So it's 2-1 Seattle after one. But Vancouver was outplaying them through large parts of that period. So they just kind of had to stick with it. Second period, Miller has a chance saved on a Garland feed. Seattle presses, but they're kept to the outside. Pearson has a 91-mile-an-hour slapper on a rush that's saved. And then it's Hamonic. Travis Hamonic gets his 200th career point. He scores from Lamico and Mott at 3:45. The Canucks then get a power play, and it was much better than the last one. Höglander fires one wide. Seattle does survive it, but Vancouver gets 4 shots during that power play. Canucks then press after. Hamonic nearly scores again, so he almost got point number 201 in his career. There were 6 guys in the Canucks zone, so I don't know if they didn't know where the puck was or what it was, but you got 2 Canucks and 2 Seattle guys at the Seattle end and 6 players at the other end. I don't know. It's weird. We've seen that a lot lately now where you have these scrums or battles, and we'll just let them have that battle. We're not going to tell them. We're not going to blow a whistle or anything. But anyways, nothing happens out of that. Everything ends up okay. It's just weird. So Seattle went 11 plus minutes between shots, which is not conducive to victories, of course. Miller has 6 hits less than halfway through the game. He ends up with, I believe, a career high in hits in the game as well. Seattle has a 3-on-2. Geekie was robbed there. Pettersson has a chance. Drieger poke checks on that one. Dickinson had a net drive. That wouldn't go. Drieger was really keeping the game tied at this point. His stats end up not being very flattering, but he had a very good game. He does allow a lot of rebounds, but I mean, there are goaltenders that allow a lot of rebounds. It's about having a defense core that's ready for that and are able to clear that, right? So Mott has a chance. Larson deflects it out. Blackwell then had one that was saved as well. The Lamico line, I thought, was the Canucks' best line to that point in the game. They had the assists on this one. They had the goal and assists on that one. I thought they were playing very well. And Myers has a blast that's saved. Yarncroke has a chance to deflect out. And then Podkolzin, who last scored on January 1st in Seattle, he gets a goal from Hughes and Pettersson at 16:41. This is where my handwriting really starts to look not great. But hey, you know, it happens. And it was a 16-game drought for Podkolzin in between goals, so nice to see him get a goal. And he scored that one on a rebound. With 2:34 left, Seattle gets power play. Ref, you suck chance start when Tyler Mott gets taken down. However, Hamonic gets tripped up, and we end up with 19 seconds of 4-on-4, and then the Canucks have a power play. So that rolls over into the third period. The Canucks have 1:17 of power play time to start the period. Pettersson blasts one wide, and then Horvat hits the net. He gets his 15th of the year from Miller and Pettersson at 35 seconds. So for Pettersson, who had a couple of helpers, he was now up to 17 points in his last 15 games. Again, I see negative comments about Pettersson. Yes, he got off to a very slow start. He's been pretty darn good the last, I'll say, month. Seattle then tries to answer. The Bruce, there it is, chance start up. Appleton's denied as Seattle presses. Geekie has a rush chance that's tipped wide. Dickinson then has one tipped wide as well. So there were lots of rush chances to this point in the period. Seattle presses at 5 minutes. There's a too many men call. The crowd was kind of quiet because they weren't sure who they were calling it on. It ends up being a Canucks power play. Hoglander can't bury one. That power play's killed off. Blackwell has a rush that it's at the end of it, and Demko saves on that. Eberle then fires one wide. The Kraken would press. Hunt fires one wide. The Canucks, with 40-plus shots before tonight's game, had a record of 1-5-1. It is this bizarre thing that I am totally going to track next season on how many times teams lose when they get more shots, which teams get goalied the most. I think it's interesting, and I'll definitely follow that next season. It's late in the season now for me to start it. I want to track that night by night, right? So near miss for Brock Besser. His next opportunity goes wide. Larson has a rush chance that's saved and held. It's the most shots ever allowed by the Seattle Kraken, because if it's the most shots allowed this season, then it's a franchise record. Power play then for Seattle. Demko saves on Eberle. Garland tries a sharp angle shot. With 4:40 left, the Kraken get a power play. That led to a shorthanded break for JT Miller. That was saved. He's denied on that, and it's killed off. So Seattle pulls the goalie with 2:15 left. I believe they called a timeout with 2:10 left. We end up with a post for McCann, and then the puck goes the other way, and Tanner Pearson, who's good at hitting the empty net, he scores from Miller at 18:28. That makes the score 5-2. That's your final. Vancouver 24, 22, and 6. Again, they're 2 games above 500. They have not been better than that all season. They keep falling back when they get to this mark. Seattle 16, 32, and 4 overall now. Another frustrating night for Seattle. The shots favor Vancouver in the first and second. You looking to go up here, sweetie? There you go. All right. First period, the shots were 15-9 for Vancouver. I knew he wanted to jump somewhere, and when Pickle decides he's going to jump, he just goes. The shots are 18-4 for Vancouver in the second, 14-13 Seattle in the third. Final shots 46-27 for Vancouver. Power plays, Seattle 0 for 4, Vancouver 1 for 4. Both teams had 24 hits in this game. Drieger saves 41 out of 45. Again, I thought he had a good game. He allows 4 goals, but how many of those are his fault? That's where the question comes in. And then Demko saves 25 out of 27. After kind of a touch-and-go first period, he recovers in the second and third. Had a very good third period, and that's a good recovery after a rough night against the Anaheim Ducks. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. As much fun as this was, I was just glad it wasn't a 10-game night, because if there were 10 hockey games on tonight, I would have just put up a post saying, sorry guys, I can't. And yeah, that would have been it. But there was just the one game on at a time, so I was able to get this done. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Means a lot. Let me know what you thought of this game in the comments section below. If you're still listening to Elton John's I'm Still Standing or not. That's the victory song for the Canucks. And hey, if you haven't already hit like and subscribe, by all means, hit both of them. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Yeah, I guess he wanted to go up there because he stayed there. So he's small for a rabbit. He's small. Anyways, there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.